I call this the December 20th, 2022 meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners to order. Our invocation tonight will be given by Amanda Curtis. Amanda is the director of the Crossroad Pregnancy Clinic. And our pledge tonight will be given by Stormy Freehoff. Stormy's a 5th grader. She's homeschooled through the Chestnut Ridge Academy. Her hobbies are painting and playing the piano. And when she grows up, she wants to be the owner and operator of the Lincoln Movie Theater, which her parents operate now. Her parents are Craig and Christy Fruhoff. And if you would, please stand for our prayer and our pledge to follow.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight as humbly as we know how. Lord, thanking you for giving us the opportunity to live in this great nation and in this beautiful county. Lord, I pray for all who are involved in this meeting tonight. I pray for wisdom from our commissioners, and I pray for them to seek your guidance in all things. Lord, thank you for this season that you've given us. Thank you for the great plan of reconciliation that you have blessed us with through your Son. May we keep it in the forefront of our minds as we go throughout the season and each and every day of our lives. Lord, thank you again for loving us. Please forgive us where we fail you. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stormy and Amanda, thank y'all. We sure appreciate it. Are we ready for electronic roll call, Madam Clerk? If you would, please.
I've marked them.
You got them marked? Okay. Madam Clerk?
I have 23 commissioners present, 1 absent.
Okay. 23 present, 1 absent. Under announcements, this is just a quick update on far as Wells Hill Park, kind of what's going on there. We do have approval through the state on doing a new grant on that. We're trying to work out some details on that, but we still are at work on that. And hopefully we're going to get the Parks and Rec Committee organized and getting some help through that too. But as this progresses, I'll kind of keep you updated. Animal Control had a meeting with the city today. The electrical problems that we brought up in the Budget Committee, and there will be a motion in Budget Committee, a little more extensive than we originally thought. So we may get that inspected by the state electrical inspector, because at this point we did not have anybody that would write a request for a proposal on that. Answer any questions on either of those subjects you may have. We had our October and November meeting minutes in your packet. In the November one, it does include the correction. It was basically a correction on how a vote was on a proposal on a purchase of a vehicle. Any questions on either of those before I ask for a motion for approval? I would entertain a motion for approval of both those, the October and November minutes of this commission. I'm sorry, I didn't catch. Okay, Commissioner Bradford makes a motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Rolls-Walter seconds that. Any questions or comments? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Thank you. You should have received 12 monthly committee meeting minutes and 6 quarterly committee meeting minutes in that. I would entertain a motion to acknowledge the receipt of those 18 meetings. Commissioner Coley makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Nix makes a second. All in favor of acknowledging approval of those, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Next item, our County Attorney Ed Sims, consideration for approval of a resolution to name a bridge on State Highway 275 that crosses the Flint River in southern Lincoln County, Tennessee, to name that the Charles and Jerry DeLapp Memorial Bridge.
Here's the resolution, Mayor. Whereas the DeLapp family moved to Lincoln County Community in 1912, whereas T.A. DeLapp built a cotton gin and operated the gin until his death, at which time his son Melvin DeLapp operated the gin until 1952. Whereas until 1993, Charles DeLapp and Jerry DeLapp, sons of Melvin DeLapp, operated a cotton gin at Vantown and expanded this business to include a farm supply store, granary, row crop operation, and registered polled Hereford cattle. Whereas Charles and Jerry DeLapp were very active in Lincoln County, with Charles DeLapp serving on the Lincoln County Planning Commission and the Lincoln County Board of Education, and Jerry DeLapp serving on the Fayetteville Electric System Board of Directors for over 30 years and serving as president of the Fayetteville Lincoln County Chamber of Commerce. Whereas Charles and Jerry DeLapp devoted their time and energy to many other community activities and held the Lincoln community dear to their hearts. Whereas Charles DeLapp died in 1997, Jerry DeLapp died in 2018. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lincoln County Legislative Body does hereby petition the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Tennessee General Assembly to name the bridge located on Tennessee Highway 275 crossing the Flint River, the Charles and Jerry DeLapp Memorial Bridge, and erect proper signage in honor of Charles and Jerry DeLapp.
Thank you. What's the will of the commission on this item?
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Mitchell makes a motion for approval. Commissioner Rolls Walter seconds that. Any questions? Comments? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Our next item, President of the Lincoln Health System, Ms. Mary Beth Seals, will give us a state of the hospital report at this time.
Well, good evening and Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for having me. I thought I would come and share a little good news with the group and those of you that are in the audience listening, because I think we can all agree on one thing in the room tonight. Fayetteville and Lincoln County is a wonderful place to live and raise our family, and there are wonderful things going on with the healthcare community in this community tonight and going forward. So I want to share that with you. So a quick recap. I will not keep you long. But July 1st, we aligned with Huntsville Hospital Health System, and that is going incredibly well. So that was Lincoln Medical Center, Patrick Rehab and Wellness Center, Donaldson Care Center, and Home Health and Hospice, and our EMS service. We're currently sitting at about 404 employees. And as of July 1st, we had around 79 open positions. And since our alignment, we're down to about 49 or 50. That probably still sounds like quite a lot, but that's still quite a bit of progress as well. So we've had a lot of interest from the community, both physicians and staff, since our alignment with Huntsville Hospital. So we feel really good about the progress that we've made so far. I'd like to share with you a little bit about what you can see in the upcoming new year and some things that we've already done, some that I hope you've noticed. So first, let me tell you, we get a lot of questions about signage. Sometimes that's important to some, not so important to others. But we do have all of our signage approved, so the community will see a lot of signage start to go up. Actually, yesterday, they were in the parking lot at the hospital changing out some of the signage, the new HH signage. So a lot of people are excited about that. All of our facilities will receive a new sign. Our hospital and the Patrick will actually have a digital sign. So we hope to do some advertising on that signage. It'll be bright and new. Really happy about that. We've done some really great work with our ambulance service since the changeover to Huntsville Hospital. So we're now running a 24/72 service, and you know, a lot of people may have not been aware of that. That we were struggling to kind of staff our EMS service, and that's something that's very important for those of you in the area who do work with fire and police. You know, when a call to 911 goes out, we want to make sure that we can send an ambulance out, that we can respond. So we are now fully staffed at our EMS service and are now able to run at least 3, sometimes 4 ALS trucks during a 24-hour period, 7 days a week. Our Park City station is now fully staffed again. A dream would be to open another station in the community, so we're very happy about that. Some of our other services are also fully staffed. Our home health and hospice service doing incredibly well. Patrick Rehab and Wellness Center doing well. We have some other areas that we need to staff up, but we are working to do that. The hospital, we still have some staffing needs there, but we are working hard to get that done. We're also working to move our organization to become a high reliability organization. So something, if you've been into the walls of any of our organizations in the last 6 months, I hope that you've noticed that your experience has been different. So I hope you feel safe. I hope you've noticed that the cleanliness has improved. That's something that's very important to me. So we want it to be a safe and good quality experience. So you'll notice that in the coming months. I also hope you've noticed the facility update. So a lot of people in the community have commented on the Patrick Rehab and Wellness Center. So it got its first coat of paint in 33 years. So we're mighty excited about that. And we giggle some when we say that, but Mr. Anthony Taylor could tell you it'd been 33 years since we'd put some paint on the Patrick, but took some time. But there will be other facilities that get improvements just as that. New roofs, coats of paint. We'll be going inside the Patrick after the first of the year and redoing the floor, changing out the lobby, the check-in desk, just making some updates. I look forward to what we're going to do at Donaldson Care Center. I think you'll be really happy. Lots of you probably have loved ones that stay at Donaldson Care Center, and we're going to do some really great work at Donaldson, so stand by to see what we do there. We're also working really hard to recruit. I get lots of questions about with this transition to Huntsville Hospital, will we recruit? And we will. You know, it's just been 6 months, so it will take some time. But the idea is that we want to keep the healthcare local, right? We don't want people to have to travel out of town. So we will work hard to try to recruit physicians. We have some announcements coming after the first of the year about some doctors that will be starting at the first of the spring. And the last thing I want to say is that I'm really excited about the work that we're going to do with students. So I believe in working with children because it's really hard to recruit right now. If you work in any organization in this town, you probably know that it's hard to hire, it's hard to retain, it's hard to get people to show up for interviews, right? So we're going back into the schools. We're going to work with HOSA programs. We're going to let children job shadow, and we're also, we're going to have a student advisory board. 20 children on the student advisory board. We're working with all schools, and that starts in January. So we're really excited about that. Look forward to you hearing about what they're doing, seeing them out in the community, and just lots of good stuff coming. Thank you for your support. Please reach out with questions. We have a very active board. We have a great set of people that work at the hospital, all of our affiliates, and we want to help you and continue to provide good care in this community. Any questions that I can answer?
Thank you, Mary Beth. I think you can tell her pride in what's going on there, and I think it's spread out through the community. And Mary Beth, homegrown talent, you're doing a wonderful job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate your support. Thank you.
Now we move into some committee appointments. Our first one's consideration for approval to appoint 2 members to the Adult-Oriented Establishment Control Board due to the resignation of Randy Bradford and Mark Mitchell. Those 2 terms would expire November 2023, and if you have questions, let me just read this. Here are the people that are not on 4 committees that would be less than that. Commissioner Coley, Commissioner Caldwell, Commissioner Rogers, Commissioner Atchley, Commissioner Tackett, Commissioner Eldridge, Commissioner Nix, Commissioner Bryant, Commissioner Douglas, Commissioner Hambrick, and Commissioner Rolls Walter. So any of those names are eligible for nominations to this committee.
I'd like to nominate Bonnie Caldwell.
Bonnie Caldwell has been nominated.
I'd like to nominate Brandon Cole.
Brandon Coley's been nominated. Okay, have a motion for nomination to cease, and those two be elected by acclamation. Do I have a second to? Commissioner Spray seconds that. All in favor of acclamation election of those two members to that committee, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved and are elected. So that added one to Bonnie's and one to, who was our other member? Cole. That they are still only at 3 committee members. So let's go to the next item. This is consideration for approval to re-elect these people to the Agricultural Committee. To re-elect Cole Smith, Vanessa Brazelton, and Tori Young to the Ag Committee. Those 3 would expire their terms on January 2025. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Bryant makes a motion for re-election. Do I have a second? Commissioner Guin seconds that. All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Thank you. The next one, consideration for approval to re-elect John Bayless to the Ardmore Giles Lincoln Industrial Development Board. That term expires January 2029. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Walker makes a motion for approval. I'm sorry, I didn't. Commissioner Frazran seconds that. All in favor of approval of that, please say aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Next item, consideration for approval to appoint 1 member to the Fayetteville Main Street Board due to the resignation of Jason Nix, Commissioner Nix, due to a conflict of interest on his part. That term expires January 2024. Mary Ann Tackett's been made nominee. Okay, we've got a second by Commissioner Rogers. I would entertain a motion that she be elected by acclamation if y'all see fit. Commissioner Nix makes a motion for acclamation election. Do I have a second? Commissioner Spray seconds that. All in favor of electing Commissioner Tackett to that position by acclamation, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Congratulations, Commissioner Tackett. Our next item, consideration for approval to re-elect Steve Gunthenberg, Jenny Rolls Walter, Kate Guin, Troy Frazran, and Glenn Douglas to the Law Enforcement Committee. All those terms expire December of 2024. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Spray makes a motion to re-elect those. Commissioner Young seconds that. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously elected. Next item, consideration for approval to elect 1 member to the Personnel Committee. This is due to resignation of Kate Guin. That term would expire September 2024. What's the will of the commission on that? Okay, Commissioner Rogers has been nominated for that. Second by Commissioner Frazran. Would entertain a motion for election by acclamation if y'all see fit. I'm sorry, I didn't. Commissioner Walker makes a motion for election by acclamation. Do I have a second to that? Commissioner Hambrick makes that second. All in favor by election of acclamation to that position, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Congratulations, Commissioner Rogers. Next item, consideration for approval to reappoint Mary Ann Tackett and Anthony Taylor to the Tax Relief Committee. Those terms would expire January 2024. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Eldridge makes a motion for approval. Commissioner Haynes seconds that. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Did I miss one? Unanimously approved. Which one? Okay. 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 Sorry. Going back up, we have a consideration for approval to re-elect Kate Guin to the Sick Leave Committee. That term would expire January 2026. What's the will of the commission on that for a re-election? Commissioner Bradford makes a motion for re-election of Commissioner Guin. Do I have a second? Commissioner Douglas seconds that. All in favor of that re-election of Commissioner Guin, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Congratulations, Commissioner Guin. You've been unanimously re-elected to that. Consideration for approval to reappoint David Sanders to the Zoning Appeals Board. His term would expire January of 2028. What's the will of the commission on that item? Commissioner Rose-Walter makes a motion for approval. Commissioner Hambrick seconds. All in favor of that reappointment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Congratulations. I think we're ready for Director of Planning and Zoning, Ms. Harris.
Mayor, did we not miss one for the Board of Zoning Appeals, Daniel? Because we have one more vacancy on the BZA.
Okay. Did I have that on here or?
No.
Okay. I think we were going to hold that till January, were we not? Or we? Okay. Okay. This is where Glenn Odom's his resignation. Mm-hmm. Okay. We did have a suggestion that Commissioner Eldridge fill that spot. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. To update everyone on this, Glenn Odom asked to be taken off the Zoning Appeals Board, and it's been suggested by one of your fellow commissioners that Commissioner Eldridge replace that. So the meeting is open for nominations for replacement of Glenn Odom. That he.
I would like to nominate Eldridge. I emailed about that. I think that he would be great on that.
Okay, we have a nomination of Commissioner Eldridge, second by Commissioner Taylor. Any other nominations?
Both nominations cease.
Okay, Commissioner Douglas makes a motion for nomination cease, and he be elected by acclamation. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Commissioner Taylor seconds that. All in favor of electing Commissioner Eldridge to that Zoning Appeals Board, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously.
What's the term? Is it the same?
I'm not, we'll have to get you that. I'm not for sure.
I'll call you on that.
Okay. Did that fill, Ms. Harris?
It did, thank you. I'm
Okay.
sorry to
All right.
sidetrack you. I just had a note there to make sure we did
Okay,
that.
thank you.
I'm going to switch up the files again as I did in the public hearing earlier tonight. First one will be file number 2022-R11. It is a zoning request from Barry Brown for property located at Huntsville Highway and Simmons Circle to zone it. It does not have a zoning district. Zone it from the urban growth boundary into a C1 general commercial for future retail. Public hearing was held earlier tonight. No comments on this particular one.
Okay. What's the will of the commission on this zoning? Commissioner Frazran makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Spray seconds. Floor is open for discussion on this item. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Next item.
This is a rezoning request, file number 2022-R7. This is from Jack Daniels Brown Foreman. The property is located on Wabash Road, just inside Lincoln County from Moore County. During the public hearing, I think most of y'all were here. There were a lot of comments, mostly in opposition. And I'll answer any questions. Oh, this is to zone it, to rezone it from A1 to I1, I1 being industrial.
Okay. Commissioner Cunningham's been recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this item be tabled until no longer than February.
Okay. We have a motion to table this. Do I have a second? Commissioner Taylor seconds that. This is a non-debatable item. All in favor of tabling, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. We have one no. Anybody else? Commissioner Bryant votes no. Anyone else? It'll be 22-1, noting that Commissioner Bryant voted no. Okay. Does that complete your report?
It is.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Our Industrial Development Board report, Commissioner Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's sounding kind of croaky tonight.
I woke up that way.
Good evening, fellow commissioners and citizens of Lincoln County. As chairman of the City County Industrial Oversight Committee, I'm pleased to provide the quarterly update to the Lincoln County Commission on the activities of the Industrial Development Board. Let's start tonight with Aaron's Co. It was formerly Project Tiller. Since our last update last quarter, they have continued to work on building upfits and equipment installs. I'd like to remind you that they are renovating the old Goodman building. The company is now looking to start production sometime in May or June of 2023. They currently employ about 12 to 15 people, but they're going to need up to 369 employees. They will be providing excellent opportunities for the citizens of our community. We're so excited about them joining our Lincoln County family. I want to talk about the activities at each of our industrial parks, and let's begin with the Bulletin Park. After months of work, the IDB has been awarded a $1 million grant to construct a 100,000 square foot building pad on a 30-acre site. This grant is the State Economic Site Development Grant. The state of Tennessee had $8 million budgeted for site development for all 95 counties, and our IDB got $1 million of that, and that's just outstanding. Hats off to Director Elaine Middleton, her assistant Emmy Lou, and the board. Look forward to that construction project getting started. We also have a TVA Invest Prep grant that we had received along with this, and it was contingent upon us getting the 2022 site development grant. So that creates another pool of money that we can use to develop this site. And this is the 30 acres that's right behind the Sunquist Center and CNS Plastics. Next, I want to talk about the Fayetteville Lincoln County Park on the Winchester Highway. Construction is well underway in building a 250,000 square foot pad on Lot 10 of the park. This is where the old Posey House stood. The money to develop this lot actually came from the 2021 state ECD site development grant. So we got that grant last year as well. This project was set to be completed by the end of the month, although recent rains have slowed things down just a little bit. The sale of this lot is currently being negotiated with a confidential company under the code name Project Fugitive. The draft purchase agreement is for 36 acres, which includes the 250,000 square foot pad area, and also an additional 39 acres that's to the rear of the property. So we hope to conclude this sale and welcome this company to Lincoln County soon. and it would employ about 150 full-time and part-time jobs. Also in this park, the expansions on the Copperwell buildings at 40 and 49 East Park Drive are well underway. This new wire product that they've got, it's a great crossover product, and it can be used for electric cars, for airplanes, aerospace. So they have a lot of opportunity in front of them, and we're just so excited to have these expansions here in Lincoln County. We also have in this park the newly identified site for a new spec building. It's a 15-acre site to the north of Lot 2. Some of y'all will recall that we were well on our way to building a spec building at Runway Center on our 8-acre site out there, and a company came in and wanted to buy that, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But the board has just voted to get a geotechnical survey done on this 15-acre lot out there to determine if we can get a 50,000 square foot building, one that's expandable to 100,000 square foot, if we can fit that on this site. So let's now get out to Runway Center. As we just discussed, we were about to build a spec building. Matter of fact, we'd already taken bids and everything. And a confidential company, codename Project Dayton, wanted to buy this property for $25,000 an acre. We are currently negotiating the purchase sale agreement on this property. Hope to have some good news on that project soon. You know, I expect probably no later than February. Got an issue with a utility easement also that they're working through. So also at Runway Center, what we have left, we have the 26-acre pad-ready site that we're showing to everybody we can. And we still have the 2 small lots that are at the very entrance of the park. But besides that, everything is sold out there. We don't have anything left at Runway Center. Herotech Manufacturing, also in the park out there, recently held its grand opening ceremony on November the 18th. All their leadership from Japan, as well as executives from Mazda, attended this. The ceremony celebrated Herotech's state-of-the-art production facility and the hard work and dedication that their team did to put this project together. We're so proud to have Herotech as a part of our community. We look forward to their continued growth and development here in Lincoln County. I think they're going to be a great addition for Lincoln County, Fayetteville and Lincoln County. Lastly, I want to talk about the new Horizon Park that's on down on the Huntsville Highway. The state ECD folks and our consultant team visited in September. They met with our Lincoln County Planning and Zoning. They also met with the Lincoln County Board of Public Utilities as well as the Fayetteville Board of Public Utilities. A major item of discussion was the access road design and construction. Tennessee Department of Transportation is going to pay for that road, and that's kind of unusual. You normally have to have a bird in hand, so to speak, or a company that's promised to come, into your park there before they will pay for a road like that. So it's just tickled to death for that. One of the consultants in the project, and he was from up in East Tennessee, he was amazed that we were getting all this funded on the front end before we had any company locked in. He said, gosh, we can't get that in East Tennessee. But I think a lot of that goes back to Elaine and the IDB board for having a great relationship with our state economic team. Also the county mayor and has contacts up there. So I want to thank those agencies for their help. TDOT projects that the access road could be completed in 18 to 24 months. So we're still a couple of years out on that, but we are starting to make some progress, and maybe we can get this site state certified as a park by the fourth quarter of 2023. We continue to see a steady flow of projects sent to us by the state and also from TVA, as well as those companies that just contact us themselves. On a different note, the IDB's accountant, Mr. David Kidd, outstanding accountant, has completed our most recent audit for the 2021-2022 budget. That budget had a lot of activity in it. We had 3 State of Tennessee grants. We had 1 USDA Rural Development grant. We acquired the new industrial park. We leased a site in the Fayetteville Lincoln County Park. We sold a site at Runway Center, and we sold the spec building in the Fayetteville Lincoln County Park, all in that budget. So all of that, and Mr. Kidd reported a clean audit with no findings. And that tells you that our IDB is managed really well also. So really proud of the work performed by Director Elaine Middleton and Emmy Lou Porter. and the board, not only are they out there bringing in companies for us, but they're managing it very well and don't have any problems. So just very proud of them. Be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. If I don't know the answer to it, certainly I'll get you an answer, okay?
Any questions for Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Fraser.
The Roslyn Industrial Park out there, the wind coming in, what kind of buffer zone is gonna be around those houses, around Pond Estates and so forth around through there?
I don't know, you know, they're just getting into the design of the park. They hadn't even completely laid it out yet other than the access road. So, I mean, we've got a ways to go on that. But I'll find out what,
The access road potentially coming off the highway at.
you know, I haven't even seen the
It's-
plans.
It's where the existing road is, on the north end of the park.
The little dead-end road?
Yeah, that's where it will be. It will be right there to be broadened, and TDOT will be carrying it across that little creek, and that's where we will have to take the industrial board will. But that's where it will be. That's the entrance and the only road that will be an entrance to that park. Then it will make a horseshoe loop through the park there. Any
other
other
questions?
questions? I don't know if your excitement was as much as hospital report, but it's pretty good, Commissioner Cunningham.
I'm pretty
I think
excited.
you're excited too.
All right. Thank you,
And
sir.
homegrown talent.
That's right.
All right, I think we're ready for our Budget Committee report. Commissioner Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Budget Committee of the County Legislative Body of Lincoln County, Tennessee met December the 6th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Lincoln Central Academy Library. All members are present. Chairman Doug Cunningham opened the meeting. Item 1, County Mayor. On animal control, we had a motion by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Bradford, and passed unanimously to approve $20,000 of $250,000 for repairs for our one half of electrical repairs within the building.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Guin makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Hambrick seconds it. This is the one that, as of right now, this may cover our expenses. We really don't know the exact, when we got into it a little further on the electrical problems, it may be higher than that, and we'll bring that back to you at that time. But we're gonna get the state electrical inspection done on the whole building where we're moving in the right direction. Any questions on this? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
Item 2, Director of Schools, Dr. Bill Heath. Dr. Heath gave us update of the school system, mainly the Highland Rim building project, and this was an information item. Item 3, Sheriff Murray Blackwelder and Chief Financial Officer Sandy Metcalf. 3A, jail nurses. We had a motion by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Ewan, and passed unanimously to approve option 2 of the healthcare management contract through Quality Correctional Health Care.
That's included in your packet. I'd entertain a motion. Commissioner Ewan makes a motion for approval of that. Do I have a second? Commissioner Taylor seconds. Any questions? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
B, inmate phone systems with IC Solutions. We had a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Hambrick, to approve IC Solutions as the inmate phone system
Okay.
with a $50,000 signing bonus, I might add.
Okay. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Ewan makes a motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Douglas seconds. Any questions or discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
C, surplus sheriff 16-foot 2016 homesteader enclosed trailer to the city of Fayetteville for $4,000. We had a motion by Commissioner Ewan, seconded by Commissioner Sanders, passed unanimously to approve surplus of the sheriff's 16-foot 2016 Homesteader enclosed trailer and selling it to the city of Fayetteville for $4,000.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Ewan makes a motion for approval. Commissioner Young seconds that. Any discussion or questions? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
D, jail food bid with Cisco. We had a rebid on that, and that bid opening was Monday, December the 19th, 2022.
Okay, at this point, information item only.
All I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
on that item.
Okay.
Item 4, Finance Director. Item 4A, Lincoln County Circuit Clerk Lisa Simmons. She had a request. Motion by Commissioner Ewing, seconded by Commissioner Caldwell, and passed unanimously to approve the Lincoln County Circuit Clerk's request. And you can see the funds affected below.
Okay. What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Spray makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Bradford seconds. Any questions, comments on this item? For her, a computer. Is that? I think that's right. Let me look back on the thing. It is for a computer. She has funds in her budget for that to purchase. She just moved it from one line item to the other. Any other questions? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
B, 101 General Fund Budget Amendments, and they're attached. Got a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Taylor, and passed unanimously to approve the attached 101 General Fund Budget Amendment.
Do I have a motion for that approval? Commissioner Sanders makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Walker seconds. Any questions or comments on this item? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
Item C, Lincoln County Sheriff's surplus vehicles. We had a motion by Commissioner Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Ewing, and passed unanimously to approve the attached Lincoln County Sheriff's surplus vehicle.
What's the will of the commission on this item? I'm sorry. Commissioner Rose Walter makes a motion for approval, second by Commissioner Ewan. Questions, comments on this item? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant?
D, 141 General Purpose School Fund Budget Amendments. We had a motion by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Sanders, passed unanimously to approve the 141 General Purpose School Fund Budget Amendments.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Nix makes a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Commissioner Douglas makes that second. Any questions or comments? All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? One correction on that, Commissioner Frazran, that was for a printer. I said computer, but it's for a printer that Ms. Lisa has requested. Commissioner Bryant?
E, got the financials. A motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Hambrick, passed unanimously to acknowledge acceptance of the financial reports.
Okay, would entertain a motion acknowledging the acceptance of those financials. Commissioner Haynes makes a motion. Commissioner Bryant seconds that. Any questions on the financials, or did anyone not receive those? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Bryant.
Item 5, Chairman Cunningham announced that Commissioner Hambrick and Commissioner Sanders would join him to form a budget subcommittee to search for an attorney to represent the Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay.
That's all we have.
Information item. Any questions on that information item?
Where are we at with the hiring of the law?
Commissioner Cunningham.
Yes, sir. Our little subcommittee met last night for the first time. It was kind of organizational in matter, but we have been individually looking for some people. So we hope to have an attorney hired by the first of the year, so we're working.
Okay? Thank you. Any other questions?
Kind of
Commission?
To ask a question.
We need mics.
When we hire this attorney, can we also include someone for an environmental study as well?
Well, actually, the attorney was being hired in regards to some internal procedural matters. Don't know that we were really getting into the environmental part of it. To answer your question, probably not.
How would we go about doing that?
If the county wanted to hire someone to do that, an environmental study?
Yes.
We've had them done, you know, on other potential purchases that we've had. We've had phase ones done, and we also have had a phase two on some of the properties we looked at. For one, the lot that was next to the animal shelter, we had that done. It's just a matter of most engineering firms will have that. If there's a particular property that, you know, we're looking at to protect ourselves, we do that. And it varies depending on what they find on their phase one. Phase one's usually just a basic history of what the property's been used for. Phase two goes into actual drilling and looking at see if there's any contamination on the site. So we do them. We just, you know, but we do them on an individual basis as far as what property we're looking at. We did that when we were looking at behind where the USDA building is. We were looking at that lot on building and did one there. We found out it wasn't something that we wanted, so it's something we always do. Surveys, environmentals, and lawyers to make sure you got clear title. We do them all, so if you got something to add to it.
Is this a proper time to make a motion to get an environmental study done?
No, but it will be under new business if you want to do it. And Commissioner Frazran you had your hand up.
do we have a proposed budget or how much we're
But I
looking
was gonna ask,
at spending on?
We do, on the legal budget, our budget includes a small amount of it that goes to our county attorney, and there's about usually $50,000 above that. I don't remember an exact, Vicky, do you know? It's around $85,000 total in our legal budget.
the budget, yeah, 85,000's in the budget.
Okay,
And I
yes.
think we were talking 50 for this.
I'm sorry.
50,000 for this upcoming thing.
I'm sorry, I still didn't understand what you said.
Can she use her mic?
50 for that, it's 85?
No,
Okay,
No,
okay.
no. He's not gonna spend that much money. Trust me on that one.
I've just got a question. How much would a study cost? Environmental study?
Environmental studies, most of them, I think, is Doug Campbell in here? Oh, well, what were they? There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 to 65,000. I'm 1,000, 6,000, something in that neighborhood. We haven't spent that much on any of the properties we've had checked out. Okay, now, did you have something else, Commissioner Frazran? Okay, did you have another new business okay, that satisfied you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we're ready for our notary publics, Madam Clerk.
I have Christy C. Thompson, Donna L. Mitchell, and Nalana Owens, all by Commissioner Cunningham.
Okay. Any other names we need to add to the list?
I have Christy Thompson, Donna Mitchell, and Nalana Owens.
Did get them all? Okay. I'd entertain a motion approval of those. Okay. We got a Commissioner Frazran made the motion, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any questions, comments? All in favor of approval of those, was it three? Those three, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Floor is now open for new business. I recognize Commissioner Young.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we hire an actually coming into our county from Jack Daniels Distillery.
Okay, now environmental study and the impact study are totally two different things. So, if we start talking about impact study, you know, there's economic, there's environmental, and there's a whole lot more. We're going to get into something that I don't even know to tell you what approximate cost would be. I would suggest that you find out exactly what you want and how much it's going to approximately cost. And I would start out with you're going to have an engineering firm involved in it, and you're also going to have somebody that's going to do an economic study, and they're not going to be the same entity.
So my understanding is an environmental study is just to see if we're being impacted. We know we're being impacted, but I want to know how this fungus is going to impact us in the long run. So you want me to seek that?
No, but if you'll make a motion that I can understand, we'll move to try to get a second, because I'm not for sure what you want.
I'm needing an environmental impact study.
Okay?
I make a motion that we hire someone to do an environmental impact study
As it relates to what piece of property?
to anything affected by the barrel houses. I can't remember the specific roads right now.
Okay, Wabash is where the one that is up for approval or non-approval on a zoning change.
On anything affected. I want to know
Okay,
what they can find out for our health
okay.
requirements.
Do you have that written? Okay. Would you read it back? You knew I was going to say that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. She is making a motion that we hire an environmental and impact study for the project of the Jack Daniel barrel houses, specifically Wabash Road and any area that it affects, on
Okay.
how it will impact the health and environment of those areas.
Okay.
Is that correct? Okay.
Okay. And before we know how much it's going to cost, do you want to put a limit on a cost on it? Because we're not going to open our checkbook. I don't have a second yet. I've not asked for a second though either. That way we don't have to amend it.
I don't know where to start with that question, Mayor. We could possibly, someone needs to check into this. Maybe I don't need to make a motion to hire someone, but I want to make a motion that we start this process.
Okay.
Find out more information about
Okay.
what the cost would be.
Okay. Find out about what we need to do and how much it's going to cost. Would that be okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I would entertain a second for that. Commissioner Haynes, are you seconding that motion? Okay. Now the floor is open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
it's like to me that Jack Daniels ought to pay for that impact study and let us know what it's going to do. The welfare of our citizens and our environment are the most crucial parts of this thing.
Okay.
And if they want to build here, and I'm all for them, but I would think they would be also concerned about citizens' health and the environment. And I think they ought to, should have already done one on several different locations, but I think they ought to fund the bill and do an impact study and provide that for our commission.
Okay. Any other comments?
Well, who's gonna get them to do that?
Well, at this time, we aren't spending any money yet on this. We're researching it. We can. I mean, you can ask for anybody to pay for it. But the motion before this body is for us to check out how much it's going to cost and what all it would involve. Commissioner Cunningham?
Who would be in charge of doing this research? Is this something that Ms. Torrey would like to do, or is it something that the mayor's gonna do, or who's responsible?
What about you? Okay. Well, before it's been, our EMA and myself have kind of, worked through this. But this is a little different than we've done anything in the past. We've had a specific piece of property that we did an environmental study. This is a new area for us. I think our first step would probably be contact some of our engineering firms that we deal with and see what they suggest, because I don't know enough to answer your question, Doug. Commissioner Bryant.
I'm not trying to get them something else to do, but I think that'd be I hadn't thought about this any, but I think it'd be the job of the zoning office. I mean, that's what they do. It could be an extension of them anyway. Not trying to get you anything else to do, sorry, but that way it's none of us. We're not involved in any way.
Okay.
Just something to think about. I don't
Okay.
think we have to vote on that.
No, it's not part of the motion unless you amend it. Any other discussion?
If EMA is normally one of the ones involved with that, and you, could they not create a committee like budget did and come back in February and present that at the same time that budget presents the lawyer that they hired and advise us at that time?
I mean, this body can pretty well, to quote one of our commissioners, sell the courthouse if 13 votes. Is that not correct, Commissioner Bryant?
Said that once upon a time, yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Young?
I would like to amend my motion to involve the planning and zoning committee to find someone to do the study.
Okay.
And to carry this out.
Okay. Do I have a second on the amendment to the motion? Commissioner Haynes makes a second. Any discussion on the amendment? Okay. We'll vote on the amendment at this time, which is to involve planning and zoning in that. This is just the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Any discussion on the motion as amended?
Recognize Ms. Harris.
Okay.
Can I just sit?
If you get a mic,
I'll come up. Normally, I would welcome the challenges that come my way, but as you know, I have a month as of today, and there's no way I have enough time to do it. So if it's put on planning and zoning, it probably will not get done. My time is very, very limited. I'm extremely busy trying to finish the projects that I do have on my plate. I physically do not have the time. I'm just being
Okay.
bluntly honest.
Okay. Any questions of Ms. Harris? Okay, any other discussion? Commissioner Cunningham?
Just in cost, I mean, this would be a very expensive thing, I would think. I remember when we did the handicap study, how much was that?
It started out at over $300,000.
You're talking about a bunch of money for a study like this. Is that our responsibility as a county to do that? Food for thought.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion as amended before the body. Any other questions? Please electronic vote.
Read back the motion.
I can't.
I'll try. Her amended motion was to refer the environmental study to planning and zoning.
No money involved in this, correct?
There's no money involved at this point. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, a yes vote will be voting for planning and zoning to study what we would need to do for an environmental study as it relates to the property that Jack Daniel proposes to change the zoning on. That is the property you're talking about.
I'm talking about all the properties that will be affected. I want to know what an environmental effect this will have. Not just Wabash Road, anywhere they are located.
Anywhere Jack Daniel's located? I think that's beyond the scope of this commission.
No, in Lincoln County.
Okay, in Lincoln County. Okay. Commissioner Frazran.
Has Jack Daniels already done this kind of study or anything, or have that ever been, have they done any of that?
I don't. Melvin Keebler, would you like to address that question?
Yes, I'll Thank you, Mayor, and rest of the commissioners. First, I would like to say, for any residents who have voiced concerns around health, Jack Daniels empathize. We take it as our top priority to protect the health of our employees and our neighbors. And to answer some of the questions around air quality, OSHA establishes permissible exposure limits for working inside a warehouse. Those are to protect the health and safety of our employees. Those are exposure limits to establish how long they can stay within that house. We are well below those limits, and those are actually concentrations of ethanol. We have done air quality testing exterior to our houses, right at the point of the vents, the exhaust vents, and found no detectable ethanol vapor. So here's what I'm saying. We are in compliance from a healthy safety standpoint within the houses where we put our own employees, where we have the utmost concern for their safety. Exterior to the warehouse and in the environment, we've done air quality sampling and detected no ethanol vapors. So I don't know if that helps answer your questions. We remain committed to operating in compliance with all local, state, and federal regulations. Our permitting is current and up to date.
Okay.
May I ask you a question, sister? The warehouses that are in Lincoln County, so how many people do you have that work in those? And how often are they in those facilities?
Okay, so it varies. We currently have 5 warehouses that are fully operational in Lincoln County and 2 that are being built. We got 13 of exactly the same style warehouses in Moore County. So probably about every year, but our crews are in a warehouse in a similar environment every day. And so we typically have 2 shifts. There is 2 or 3 people in the warehouse styles that are in Lincoln County and Moore County, what we call the palletized style. There is 8 to 10 people that are in the rack style. And then we're rotating based off of inventory, those crews within it. They are well below the OSHA permissible exposure limits. And like I said, when we monitor air quality exterior, we're detecting no ethanol vapors.
May I go ahead and finish my line of questioning?
Okay, I will come back to you, but we'll go to when one person has spoken once, we'll come back. Is there somebody before Commissioner Young or Commissioner Rolls Walter that wants to speak as far as commissioner? I'm sorry.
You can speak first.
Okay, Commissioner Young.
Mr. Melvin, if there are no emissions from your barrel houses, then what is this fungus feeding off of?
And so I think we've had this discussion earlier. Like I said before, it is Baudonia campaniensis is a naturally occurring fungus, right? It is without a doubt in the presence of distilleries, bakeries, and other ethanol plants, fuel ethanol plants. But to say that it's not present where those operations don't exist is not true. It exists. It is a naturally occurring, slow-growing fungus. So
So why does it exist around the whiskey barrel houses if you're not emitting that to activate it?
there are several factors that could cause it. Temperature, humidity, and I'm not going to go into deep science on this type, but there are several things that can cause this particular fungus to be more resilient to other climates where it normally dies off.
Okay, so has Jack Daniels ever done an impact study to see the impact of it? Have you ever had that done?
I'm not exactly sure. What we've done is we've looked at the requirements of TDEC, looked at the requirements of EPA and OSHA, and we have met all of those requirements. Those requirements are put in place for the safety and health of our employees and to make sure you're operating your facilities in a manner to protect the environment.
But no impact.
We've done air quality testing, both inside and outside of our warehouse.
Commissioner Haynes.
Following her question, you're saying there is no ethanol leaving those warehouses?
I'm saying at the levels where we detect it, 50 feet away from ours, at the instruments we were using, we detected no ethanol vapors.
Okay, we're kind of getting off the subject, but I will allow any further discussion. Okay, was that a hand or a reach? Okay. Commissioner Rose-Walter.
I represent District 8, and I've had at least 20 people reach out, several did today and yesterday. And I just want Jack Daniels to know that the majority of the people in my district, with the exception of one, we're hoping we can work something out. I hope that we can get together and be a bit more pragmatic. I hate that it takes meeting once a month to try and resolve something. So, but my district, we want you here, but we are very concerned about our neighbors. And one of the questions, and Ms. Donna, I don't know if you got my voicemail, I called and left too, because I want to hear what everybody has to say. And I've got a question about the filtration. So, may seem ignorant to some, but I don't mind asking it, and hopefully it will answer some of the questions here. So the filtration, at one of the previous meetings, you said that it may impact your product, and as a business person, I understand that. The filtration that's been discussed, that would be on the interior of the warehouses, which I know you're not in favor of, but is that correct? That has been discussed to be on the inside of the warehouse?
The filtration that was referenced earlier is for a warehouse style and design that's totally different from bourbon and Tennessee whiskey. That particular warehouse is a totally enclosed brandy warehouse that has specific requirements around the temperatures that they maintain. I would not characterize it as whiskey filtration. I would characterize it as a thermal oxidizer, which meaning they're using some type of heat source to incinerate the vapors. When they installed that, the EPA looked at that technology and said, this is not applicable to whiskey maturation warehouses.
Well, here's my question. One of the farmers, that's one of my constituents, asked if the filtration system on the interior is not acceptable, but an industrial air scrubber on the exterior of the property be something that we could look at, because that would capture whatever was put out of the building instead of being on the inside. Would that be something that could be considered?
EPA uses terms like best available control technology and reasonably acceptable available control technology. To the best of my knowledge, that technology does not exist that's applicable to how we're maturing our whiskey.
So you would be opposed to doing the exterior air scrubber, but that would not be something that your company would possibly consider? And I know that you have to go back and talk to people. This is why I think we need to all be at a table going back and forth instead of meeting once a month to discuss these items. I know you're against filtration, I know you're against cleaning people's property, which is what my constituents are concerned about.
I'm not against it. What I'm simply stating is when we look at the rules and regulations and we look at the findings, what we're saying is that type of technology is not applicable to what we're doing. Yes, there is some consideration around the impact it does on either bourbons, Scotch whiskey, or Tennessee whiskey. But what I'm saying is you're asking me to consider a technology out there that we have, and the EPA has said, is not available technology for this industry. So even if I said, I am totally in favor of that, that technology is not applicable to us at this time.
District aids for it if we can get some filtration, or we can get some buffers.
Okay, any other discussion?
Chairman?
Yes,
I've
sir.
got a question. It puzzles me, if there's no ethanol leaving your building, I don't understand how this fungus, and I know you say it's natural occurring, and I can understand that, but it increased tremendously once the barrel houses were put in. My question is, who's measuring the ethanol? Do y'all have your own equipment, or is that by an outside firm?
We use our own equipment, and then there are compliance regulations that we have to comply to for OSHA. And I did not say there was no detectable ethanol leaving the warehouses. What I said, on the instruments that we use, those levels were non-detectable. That's different. There is sensitivity regarding the instrument. It's the same one that we use to verify our atmosphere for our workers to go in. And 50 feet away from the warehouse is non-detectable on that instrument.
Well, I understand that technology you have, your instruments are not.
They're not designed to say absolute zero. What they're designed to say, this is a safe environment.
Okay. We got a motion that's been amended. It's properly seconded. At this time, if you would, vote.
Planning and zoning is saying they can't handle this request. Where do we go from here? Who do we need to?
Well, that was part of the motion as amended, so, you know, you vote no if you don't want that in there. You vote yes if you want that in there.
I would like to withdraw that amendment.
Okay. You're going to have to amend the amended motion, striking the amendment from there. Is that what you'd like to do?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second? Striking, Commissioner Douglas makes that. Now what we're doing, we're voting on amendment to strike the amendment from the motion, which added that about planning and zoning to do the study. Any discussion? Does everybody understand what we're voting on? All in favor, please say. If you vote yes now, you would be striking planning and zoning from the motion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? Okay, we're back to the original motion now, where it's not directed who would do it. Any questions or comments? I request a electronic vote on that. Does it, any? This is, yes would be the environmental study on anything in Lincoln County that relates to the Jack Daniel barrel houses. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is just a fact finding meeting.
That is correct, and we've not assigned anybody to do it. Okay? Everybody with me?
Who do we need to assign to do this?
Pardon?
Who do we need to assign to do this?
Let's see if it passes first. Is everybody where they can vote? Pardon? Y'all roll call, or has everybody got their, where they can vote on their tablets? Okay, let's do a roll call in.
I'll roll call.
Okay.
Rose Walter. Hambrick. Brazran.
Yes. Yes.
Douglas.
Yes.
Bryant. Young.
Yes.
Haynes.
Yes.
Cunningham.
No.
Taylor.
Yes.
Nix.
Yes.
Eldridge.
Yes.
Spray.
Yes.
Tackett. Yes. Bradford.
Yes.
Mitchell. Ewan.
Yes.
Ashley.
Yes.
Rogers. Caldwell.
No.
Brown.
No.
Walker.
No.
Sanders. Coley.
No.
I have 17 aye,
Okay.
6 no, and 1 absent.
Okay, motion passes. Mr. Bryant's recognized.
New business, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I've got an item that at this point just be commentary, like to deviate a little bit, if anybody wants to hear it. I've got a few facts, but I'd ask that somebody make a motion in a second for me to actually do this, so you don't have to rule on that.
I'll second that one.
I make a motion to let it speak.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to allow Commissioner Bryant to speak. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimous.
I know y'all ready to go home.
Are we selling the courthouse?
Trying not to sell the courthouse here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. There's a few things that, I just I'd done some work on. My neck's been a little out of line, so if I have to turn like this, I'm not doing the robot or anything. I'm just can't turn to see you. And at our last meeting, I asked a simple question, and this is in relation to these proposed barrel houses over on Wabash Road. Let me make it very, very clear. I don't owe Jack Daniels anything. If that black stuff was on my house, I wouldn't like it either. So let me just get that out there to start with. I told them when I called them they ought to buy everybody up there a pressure washer within 3,500 feet and everything be good in the world. But I have done some research and there's some facts. And these facts are not going to be very friendly in some cases because, I don't do my business on Facebook. If I got something to say, I'll come up here and say it, and it'll be based on facts that I believe to be true. But I don't appreciate some of the comments and things that are on Facebook because this commission and every commissioner on there works very, very hard, whether you like something or not. And like I say, I don't owe those folks anything. And I've talked to one little lady sitting right back here several times, and she'll tell you exactly what I said. Last month, I asked a simple question of a speaker that we had, be Mr. Long, and his wife spoke, and hey, I hope y'all make $1 million up there at Shade Joe. I really do. Hope you do. I hope everybody needs to make a bunch of money. Makes me happy if you make money. So I'm not trying to discourage any kind of business. I'm not saying that stuff that's on that place is not bad. I gotta be washed off. I live next to, about a mile from chicken houses, and when the wind's out of the right direction, it's not very fun living there either. You know, so stuff has to be somewhere, but I'll get there. During our last meeting, I simply asked when the place was bought, and I done that because I knew in 2021, when it was bought, that the black mold or fungus or whatever you want to call it was already up there. And that's just a fact. I mean, it just is. It was there. I've been driving through there my entire life, and it's there. You know, and I made a bunch of people mad. Quite obviously, some people mad when I asked that question, and that's okay. That's what we get paid to do. If you're mad at me, I can take it. I'm fine with that. But what I don't like is when all the facts are not out there. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the property that was what got all this started. Let's talk about that a little bit. What got every bit of this started, which was the property next to the barrel houses that are being constructed. That's what got it started. So, and a bunch of folks here, I've talked to a bunch of you all on the phone. Talked to one guy today this afternoon, lives in that area. I was pumping gas. We had a great conversation, talked to the lady that spoke earlier that has cancer. Talked to her for 30 minutes. Miss Becky over there. We had a really nice conversation. And, but let's be really clear about the goal of the folks that got all this started. If you really want to know, if you really, really want to know, then that property's been for sale. And it's been for sale to Jack Daniels in 2022. Started in April 2022. There's a nice, really nice presentation made. The resolution was so high I couldn't even get it open. I had to have it open. It was a beautiful presentation. And Jack Daniels declined. They didn't want to buy that. They wanted the first asking price was $3.9 million. Hey, I wish you could have sold it for 3.9. I want everybody to make some money. I'm good with that. I really, really am. But everybody needs to know the facts. You really do. In that particular presentation, there was in this presentation, folks offered to run it for Jack Daniels. That's fine too. But in that same presentation, in the very, very bottom, it says that it would be the best for both worlds, and I assume that's for their world and Jack Daniels. That's all I can assume there. A little later on in November, we had another offer of over November the 10th, actually. There was another offer made for around $2 million, and Jack Daniels declined this offer. That's 5 days before our last commission meeting. That's just a fact. There's no lies there. I'm not trying to hide the truth. Like I said, if that black stuff's on my house, I'd be mad about it too. But let's speak in truth. Let's do that. Much has been said about the mayor getting those things approved before zoning. You know, the mayor's in charge of zoning. He's in charge of the zoning office. I don't know whether he got him under the wire or not. I wasn't there. I assume he did. The people of Lincoln County vote for him, and he's won the last 2 elections by a landslide. So I assume that the people of Lincoln County put their faith in him, and that's the reason I didn't want him to recognize me. I wanted you all to do it. Some of the commissioners, there was a Facebook post that really gets me every time I read it. It's talking about us good old boys and girls in this case. You know, good old boys and girls it's pretty simple what the good old boys and girls do. When Daikin, Goodman, whatever you want to call it, was leaving this county, everybody was like, oh my goodness, what in the world are we going to do? We're going to lose 1,700 jobs. I'm going to tell you, it wasn't a bump in the road. I'm going to tell you the reason it wasn't a bump in the road. Her name's Elaine Middleton. The board that she's got's an IDB board. That's the reason it wasn't a bump in the road. They get those industries in here. Lincoln County Commission does that. The city of Fayetteville does that. There's a multitude of people that made that not a bump in the road. Now, Jack Daniels in the whiskey business. That's what they're in the business of. We got people in the chicken business. That's bad. But you remember down at Taft. All you remember Taft. Same thing. EPA, it's bad. It's going to kill us all. Well, the EPA, TDEC, come up here and said, nope, not a problem. I don't want a chicken house beside my house either. But a chicken house got to be somewhere. I don't care for a pork producer beside my house, but I really like pork chops. Is all you all can tell. Industry has to be somewhere. And it's going to affect every industry. I don't care what kind of industry it is, it's going to affect its neighbors in some way. It just is. And, you know, we can, and like I said, I wouldn't want that black stuff on my house either, but it's got to be somewhere. 60% of Americans drink alcohol. It's a fact. I looked it up. If you want to live longer, And I try to speak the truth. Now, all y'all know me. I wouldn't lie to you any kind of way. And I'm, like I said, nothing to me either way. But I pulled a report from 2014 here. And I won't go through it all, 'cause it's 10 pages long. But if you want to live longer, move to Moore County, especially if you're a female. You will live about 3.5 years longer than the state average. If, and I'm not beating anybody up here, like I said, I've had some real great conversations with people. Mortality, less than state average. Heart disease, stroke, bronchitis, and lung cancer, less than the state average. Not my work. I'm just showing you what I found here. Breast cancer, less than the state average. I can go on and on and on and on. They drink a little more than we do, and they're a little fatter than we are. That's mainly the two things we got. Another report, 2018, specifically calls out Moore County in those areas. It talks about tumors of the colon, liver, stomach, throat, cancers. It specifically in this report calls out Moore County as being very, very low in these items. Leukemia, the lowest rate is found in Moore County. Lowest rate. Self-harm, lowest rate. They don't harm themselves in Moore County, Williamson County either. And I could talk about that for a long time. This mold, I don't know what it is. I'm not a scientist. I can call Seth Frost up in Nashville, and he'll tell me all about it. That, by the way, that's a good environmentalist. Everything I can find says it don't harm humans and it don't harm trees. I looked at a Google map, and I drove and I walked and I rode, and it looks like to me within 3,500 to 4,500 feet of those houses is about where that black mold, fungus, whatever you want to call it, goes to. I've actually got on Google and I followed it around. I also found in those old warehouses, though, I've heard a lot about trees being dead. Forest is still fine up there. The woods, as we call it up in Flintville, still fine. They're still alive. Those warehouses have been up there for, 50, 80, 100 years? I don't mind people saying what's the truth. Just say what the truth is. Don't bother me a bit. Our former mayor, I didn't put this in here, but Miss Bevels, good Lord, she got B&W Growers here by herself and got the state to fix the highway some kind of way. I don't know how in the world she did it. It's all of our jobs to do those things. It really, really, really is. I can go on research here. There's also in every deed of trust, and a deed of trust that in this particular case says the same thing, and it's on any property pretty much, and on this property in particular, beside the barrel houses in Tennessee, it says in this deed of trust, and this is dated April 28, 2021, it says the guarantor, after full inquiry, investigation, and inspection, has determined that no petroleum products, oil, hazardous substances, or solid waste have been disposed of or otherwise released onto the property in any way, released onto the property. In 2021, we didn't have any problems. In 2022, November, didn't seem like we had any problems, and it's just me talking. But on November the 15th, 2022, we had some serious, serious problems. And that, to me, I just don't understand that. It's 5 days. I just don't get it. I'm gonna close this up here. I got about 5 more pages I could probably read. I wouldn't want this stuff on my house either, but we've got to have industry. We've got to have good money from somewhere. They brought in $157,000 last year. If they complete the ones they've got now, and if they get these on Wabash Road, whether they get them or not remains to be seen. They're gonna quadruple that amount. Average home in Lincoln County brings in about $1,000 in property tax. So right now, without anything else, they're paying the same amount of money as 157 homes. The other side of that is, next year is not gonna be a good tax year, guys and girls. It's really not. It's not gonna be fun at all. We got some serious things to look at. If you're at the last budget meeting, Dr. Bill Heath talked about a school. You're talking 35, depending on what kind of school you build, $35 to $65 million there, and the debt that goes along with that. Every industry has a problem, and I just don't like to, and like I said, I'm straight up. I wouldn't want it to my house either. And I've told Jack Daniels this, I've told the people I've talked to at Brown-Forman this, and I do wish they'd buy everybody up a pressure washer. I really, really do. But let's deal in facts. I also have, if you want to look at them, I've got a copy of their permits right here. The gentleman's been referring to them all night long. So one of them's 41 pages, the other one's 29 pages. They've got some permits that they're actually working with right now to get, but they are in compliance right now. So, side note, I deal with TDEC and EPA quite a bit, and I promise you, if you're not in compliance, you're in trouble. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I just have a simple question.
Yes, sir. I'll try to answer it.
In your comments about the results of the health of the people in Moore County,
Yes, sir.
is that numbers or is that a percent of the capital? That being
It's a
one
capital.
smaller?
It's a capital. Here it is. You want it?
It's a percentage.
You want it?
No, I'm just asking, it's not just strictly 5 people, you're talking about it's a percentage.
Per capita, yeah. And you can get, there's other studies out there. I just hadn't found anything. There's a few things out there that says it's bad for your health. But I find a whole lot more. If you simply, now Google will tell you anything, so don't say I went out here and said just Google it. But if you simply Google, is this fungus bad for your health? It'll come up the very first line, it'll say no. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Ms. Carol, would you still like to speak? You have to come up here if you want to speak. I recognize Ms. Becky Carroll.
Okay.
Okay, so if it's harmless. At the mic. I'm sorry.
You have 3 minutes from the public.
If it's harmless, how can it get, I am not really that close to Jack Daniels. Forget that. If it's harmless, how can it pit metal? If it can pit metal, your vehicle that sits there because you only drive your truck when you need to haul water or get hay, if your truck sits there and it pits the metal, what can it do to your lungs? When I showed my doctor the signs, he said, "You're looking at a lot of lawyers. You don't have a lot of time for that. Live your life." And that's what I'm trying to do, live my life. But I would like to know, how can it pit metal and not affect your lungs? And he said, of course you breathe it, but you've got more important things to focus on. I don't know what else to say. I'm saying the truth. And if Jack Daniels cares so much about people, when I have been taking myself to radiation treatments 5 days a week for 6 weeks and doing chemotherapy, which is a 9.5-hour day, 2 chemos, immunotherapy, and 2 iron infusions, and I come home and I can't sleep, and I'm across the holler and down the road because of a pounding. They're over there pounding rocks, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go over there. I get a phone number the next day online. I got a nice young man. I don't know how old he is. He called me back, and he was very nice, and he said, good news and bad news. They're pouring concrete. They're scheduled to finish up at 2 o'clock in the morning, but then they'll be finished. But we're going to put you in a hotel room and buy your dinner. I'm like, well, no, you're not. I've been in the hospital for 5 days with a collapsed lung. I have pets. I don't want to leave my home. You're not going to run me out of my home. And the next day I come home and I have flowers on my porch from Jack Daniels Distillery. I'm sorry. Flowers and money. Do you know how much immunotherapy is? It's $24,000. My medicine that I'm on now, because chemo doesn't work on this, it's $10,000 a month. That's what my insurance gets billed. I don't have anything else to say other than I think that we need to be very aware. And I'm a healthy person. I was a strong person. The doctors all said, you have strong, healthy lungs. We don't understand this. I don't know what else to say. I'm just sorry, and I'm sad. And I want the best for everybody. And they don't care about us. Flowers, and I'm trying to survive. I sleep 10 and 12 hours a night so I can work. just to pay my overhead in 2 places for 6 weeks? Thank you.
Commissioner Ewan?
I'd like to recognize Patrick Law, please.
Okay.
Hey, good morning, afternoon, whatever it is. Thank you. Appreciate the time. I'm getting somewhere when I'm getting slandered in public, so it makes me feel good. I've only been here a year and a half. That's amazing. So that leads me to this. Typically, when there's an issue you don't want to talk about, you tend to deflect, right? Does my relationship or my conversations with Melvin and the senior leadership at Jack Daniels have anything to do with the fact that there's no permit that's been issued for the Lynchburg property? No. Does it have anything to do with the fact that planning and zoning was told to stand down by the mayor? No. Does it have anything to do with the fact that your building commissioner will be happy to tell you that he should go give a stop work order today by law, but he's told not to by your mayor? That has nothing to do with me. If Melvin wants to give me $2 million or $8 million, I'll take it. To be perfectly honest, we have had 10 offers on that property in the past 6 months. So everything I own's for sale, except for my wife, right? And maybe a couple, this pair of shoes, I really like this pair of shoes. But other than that, heck yeah, I'll be happy to sell it to him. But did we say, hey, Jack, if you don't give me a lot of money, I'm going to tell everybody? I don't got to tell anybody everything. 600 people joined a Facebook group. Almost 200 people showed up to tell you they know there's some black crap. And guess what? There's no bakery anywhere in the vicinity of our house. Please, somebody tell me where the Lincoln County Bakery is that's killing us with all this black stuff. And here's the thing I really want to make clear. In each of your emails, please check today, you have the email address of Greg Freed. I'm tired of hearing about I talked to the EPA or I might know something. Call Director Freed. He begged me to tell you today on the phone he would love to talk to all 24 of you because their permit, their Title V permit, is up right now. It's being redone by TDEC. TDEC told me they can't get it done because they don't have enough people. I understand that. Mr. Freed would love to bring the full force of the EPA here to Fayetteville and figure out for you if they have lost their fugitive emission status. And if they have, and this is fact, I don't know what they're using and how far away, I don't know. I just flew helicopters. I got no clue how that crap works. But I know this, the EPA does not lie on statistics. And you can go to their website, and in the email that I gave you, he specifically states they are the single largest polluter of VOCs in the United States by over 9,000 tons a year. VOCs, don't get confused with the black stuff. Bidonia communis, I don't know how to say that. It doesn't matter. Does it suck? It does suck. That's not the problem. It's the ethanol, people. The ethanol, it feeds it, which makes it worse, but it will cause lung cancer. That's a fact. You all have an EPA
Time.
I'm going to take a couple minutes. Can I be recognized for a couple more minutes, Kate? Would you be okay with that? Since I got slandered, I'd love to have an opportunity. Thank you. So the EPA, in the documents you all have in your email, because I sent them to you, if you will look in the MGPI distillery case, the EPA specifically states that the environmental impact of VOCs is permanent lung scarring and chronic cough and throat issues. And here's the deal. Lynchburg says, well, it hadn't bothered us. I got that. But how many barrel houses did they have 10 years ago? How many barrels were there? The 20 barrel houses that were told that would be proposed at the last meeting, and I don't know that that number's correct because it's never been approved by anybody in the government that they could build 20, but somebody seems to know they're going to. Please explain to me how they are 66,000 barrels, okay? When they build those 20 in about a mile radius between those three properties, that is the same as 60% of all the alcohol contained in Moore County today. Ballpark, because they won't tell you total barrels. But the last known number was somewhere around 2 million. I mean, I'm sure that Melvin can tell you. to get the percentage exactly right. But it is a large percentage of what is already in a very small section of Lincoln County. So just common sense tells you that when I put a lot of something bad in a very small area, a lot more bad will happen. So here's what I recommend. Don't spend the money. That's crazy. I develop property. That's a developer expense. You want me to come tell you why I want to do something? I should pay for that, not the county. It's your land. Why would you pay for that? But here's what you're being offered. Call Director Freed. They'll come here. They're dying to come here because this issue has been going on for 10 years. For 10 years, the whiskey industry has been arguing with the EPA. When Senator McConnell was in charge of the Senate, he's from Kentucky, he applied pressure on the EPA. And Mr. Freed will tell you this isn't my opinion. He'll happy to tell you. The EPA was told to stand down on these whiskey houses because the Senate majority leader, his state, they kind of have a lot going on with whiskey. That doesn't happen now. His words, he told me to tell you, call me. We are currently investigating this. We expect an EPA alert letter to go out in the near future that states that we have grave concerns over the fact that these barrel houses create the largest amount of VOCs of any single location in the United States. And if you allow them to do 20 and you don't filter them, you're going to be in the top 10. So when we talk about all the great things about this county, just go ahead and add, oh, by the way, we're a top 10 polluter of VOCs. Now, last thing, and I'll shut up. Melvin's exactly right. They are in complete compliance with what they do today. But the argument is around fugitive emissions. Call Greg Freed. His number and his email are in your email boxes. Beg him to bring his team, and they will pay for it, and they will investigate it, and you'll get your answer. And it won't be from TDEC, it won't be from me, it won't be from anybody out here, it won't be from Jack Daniels. And if they say, no big deal, you guys are good, I'll shut up and go pressure wash. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Jeremy Thompson.
Okay. Three minutes.
3 minutes. I'll try to keep this within 3 minutes. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm not going to speak from the platform of being a subject matter expert tonight. Personal and professional obligations have limited my time to properly research the content of the matter, so I will rely on others who I fully trust are raising the issue in the best interest of our county and the community. We can debate the issue of health, aesthetics, the regulation, compliance all night long. The bottom line is that the black fungus is an absolute unquestionable issue that needs to be addressed. There are two primary matters of concern being raised as I understand it. The procedure for which allowed the building of Jack Daniels barrel houses in Lincoln County and the ask for a temporary halt in that production, as well as a respectful request that they have proper emission filtration systems added to the facility as part of the build. I heard the gentleman from Jack Daniels say that the technology referenced by Mr. Long is not applicable to Tennessee bourbon. I'd like the gentleman to tell us what technology does apply or if such technology even exists. I think we got that answer earlier. The gentleman said many times tonight that Jack Daniels is compliant with local, state, and federal regulations. I'd like to ask, will Jack Daniels remain compliant if the Lincoln County Commission designs regulatory requirements for air filtration systems, and if no such filtration system exists, will Jack Daniels be committed to investing in that technology or the creation of that technology in the best interest of our county, surrounding counties, and the citizens that occupy them? We all know that this project will bring a healthy amount of revenue to Lincoln County, and I believe that is something we can all get excited about. I hope we will be just as excited to know that the potential risks or hazards that come with it and engage in a respectful, meaningful dialogue on all sides of the argument to reach a solid common sense solution. I'd like to close my comments tonight by recognizing that we live in perhaps the most politically polarized society our country has ever known. We have all become more controversial in matters of policy than we would like to admit, I'm sure. But if you're an elected official in this county, your responsibility is not to the body of government or whatever associated hierarchy you may think you're accountable to. Your responsibility is to be accountable to the people who elected you. That this is a simple matter of what is right and what is wrong. I hope we can all leave here tonight having learned more about all sides of the issue so that appropriate determination can be made and commissioners can vote accordingly as we move Lincoln County forward. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Okay. Any other new business? Okay, got all in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. We're adjourned.